Welcome to Overwatch and welcome to Coaching the Many. This time we're going to be talking all about Mercy, and we're actually doing 2 games for the price of 1. So the first game we got, you can see the ratings behind here, nice and lovely, high masters, 3.8 games. The guy that we're following is a friend of one of our subscribers. It is Toby. Toby GH, whatever his name is, we're just going to call him Toby. Toby is actually playing his sort of Grandmaster game. So he's at like, I don't know, 3,999, and so he needs 1 win to get to Grandmaster. He's also playing with his Farah main friend Zeta, who's been on Coaching the Many twice already, and needs to sod off, frankly, in Coaching the Many. Just kidding. But still, we're going to be primarily focused on the Mercy, what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, all that kind of stuff, all that good stuff. So Twitch chat, as usual, have questions ready to ask towards the end, and then when we do get to the end, you guys will be able to ask the questions, and I'll answer them, and we'll explain everything about Mercy. Okay. YouTube is the one side that somehow makes the survival getting progressively worse and worse. It's still better than a lot of the competition, which is the unfortunate part of it, but there's a reason why Let's Play, for example, is dying to Twitch. Okay, let's go. Let's go. And also, I'll point out, you can see in the chat, Zeta is very happy that it's Lijiang Tower. But right, we're playing Mercy in a Mercy Farah duo. Like, this is as fucking amazing as it gets. Why is Farah Mercy so good? Let's start with, like, what makes Farah Mercy good while this team sorts itself out. Pharmacy is good because it basically solves Farah's big weakness, which is that when she's in the air, she is quite vulnerable. And by providing a large amount of healing to her, 50 heals per second, or like 60 heals per second, or however much it is, it's 50 or 60-ish, don't really care on the specifics, it's a lot of healing. At mid-range, it's very hard to then eliminate the Farah. So Farah is way more durable. She also has some of the highest damage output in the game across pretty much all ranges. It's just a bit unreliable at long range, but when you start putting 30% extra damage into those rockets of hers, or 25% extra damage into those rockets of hers, or even any damage bonus at all into those rockets of hers, they start murdering the shit out of people. So it basically makes Farah into a killing machine that's nigh indestructible. Meanwhile, it also offsets one of Mercy's big weaknesses, where she doesn't have actually any vertical movement of her own without support. Farah gives her an alternate escape option where she could just go straight up if she's feeling threatened, and feels pretty damn good. Pharmacy also works because of the chemistry and the shipping between the characters. Twitch chat is trying to inform me. Not so sure on that one. Okay.
No, go ahead.
And this is actually the correct call as well. You guys have a Farah. There's no reason to assume that the enemy team does instantly, and just pushing out this way is not too bad. Instantly, 2 kills.
Wow, nice.
Straight away. And you can see straight away swapping that onto healing. Now, because this is a 4K-ish game, like, this is kind of the level that I play at, so we're not going to be so much talking about what this person is doing wrong, although if there are mistakes and I see them, I will call them out. But let's focus on, like, things they're doing right. So you notice, you know, as I get off this button here, you know, as we're going in, as we're advancing, we're not putting ourselves too far forward. We're sort of staying behind the team, but even positioning in areas like this where we're out of line of sight, but can still provide support, still can see most of the team, still provide a large amount of healing. We're staying in the back nice and safe, and then when everyone at the back is solved, we can move forward and provide some support here. We're also not going the full distance of Guardian Angel. We're going, you know, we're taking the bunny hop forward, putting some healing on a target, and then staying nice and safe and nice and tucked into our team. And then if we ever need to escape, we can use the Farah, for example. We can pull back towards Roadhog on the point. I mean, I would like to see us perhaps move on the point just to help us cap it that little bit faster, but that's just such a minor thing that it doesn't really matter too much. And then we're back in position and all ready to go. Healing the team up as the enemy team starts advancing forward. Feels good, man. Otherwise, now we're just focusing on the things we should be prioritizing on. Roadhog is just really, really nice for us to keep priority on. Oh my god, we've got a 3-month sub as well. Fail Xanadune, thank you, it is appreciated. With the Twitch Prime sub, beautiful. Good use of that Twitch Prime. Okay, so some interesting things happen here. It's worth mentioning, like, it does get mentioned earlier on in the game, that, you know, they have a Sombra, which is going to instantly sort of register in your brain as, okay, they're probably going to have this big ultimate soon. We have a Roadhog as well. We have no Reinhardt. She's going to build the EMP pretty quickly, but on the flip side, we can use the Roadhog as a battery. So while Sombra is building her ultimate, we're also building ours. You notice we're barely into this match, and we already have a Resurrect. And that's because we've been prioritizing just keeping this Roadhog alive. He's just a big sponge, sure for the Sombra, but sure for us. So when this happens, and I mean, this is a super fast EMP. EMP comes out nice and quickly, but we are so ready for it. Because even the, like, we almost want this, especially as, you know, the Zarya doesn't really pay attention, and we can just dip back here. This is such a good movement, because we kind of want everyone to die on the point. Like, we want them to throw everything they can at the point. We can stay nice and safely tucked back here, and honestly, this is where we should be calling, you know, move to point, move to point, move to point, because we do. This is a little bit of a gamble to try and get to this third person. I think this is a little bit of a liberty that we've taken here. We could have probably just gotten away with going the other opposite direction, to be honest. If we just finish up going around this way, let me double check that, make sure that this person dies first. Like, the Roadhog dies here, Farah dies here, but she's in range, and someone's dead over here. We could have probably just gone the other way and picked them up, rather than just exposing ourselves to the point, because who knows who could be standing here. The Ana could sleep us, and then we feel like a complete ninny, as we don't get any value. Luckily, no one's paying attention, though, and we do manage to pick up the res. But this is just an example of putting ourselves in places where we can sponge a huge amount of healing. Like, we are getting a lot of value where people are shooting at a target that they can't really kill. The Roadhog is not going to go down very easy. I'll talk about this in a second as well. This is very good movement by the Farah and the Mercy. It's just very good use of the resources we have. Like, the Sombra is trying to battery off the Roadhog, but we can do exactly the same thing. And this is sort of where the danger of, like, oh, sure, I can build my ultimates off Roadhog has a negative connotation with it, where they get the EMP so fast, but then Mercy gets a res super fast as well. And it pays off massively where Mercy picks up a 3 people res and the fight just continues, and then they have to throw more resources at it when this happens. So also what I like as well is you should keep moving, especially as long as you aren't regenerating health. You should be very cautious in in the second it takes for you to start regenerating. When we hear the Dragon Blade, Farah does the right thing by coming over this way. We can dash to it now, we can feel safe. That means Genji either has to isolate himself, and then after Farah's done... So basically Farah's done this movement here, which has gone like this, and then gone like this. So let's say the Genji, who was like over here... let's get red. The Genji, who was over here, spots us, and comes at us this way. Guardian Angel has such a short cooldown that we don't have to give a shit, and we can follow Farah into the air, and we're just safe, and we're away. Like... That movement gave us so many options in terms of, okay, we could either pull them to the point, which we probably don't want to do. We don't want to surround ourselves with allies when Genji's got a Dragon Blade, because he's going to be going for us. He wants to kill us. We can get out here, we can get safe. We're not going to save someone from a Nano Blade, because he kills people in 2 shots. So we might as well go somewhere we can survive, and then follow the fire up into the air where we're even safer. And that gives us a lot of choices afterwards, of course, where we can now just, like, keep an eye on what everyone is doing, where everyone is. I like the fact that we're staying on healing on the Farah. What Farah doesn't need is more damage in Barrage. So let's talk about this just very quickly. It's actually pretty simple. So Farah, when she barrages, she deals about 2,500 damage in total. If all of her rockets land, it's about 2,500. It might be a bit more. It is a bit more, actually. I can tell you that empirically. It's probably more like 2.7, maybe even 3k if every one of our rockets land. And the reason why I know that is because if you focus Farah on a Reinhardt with his barrier up, you will kill the Reinhardt and his barrier entirely. So if you think about like 2,500 damage going into this area, she doesn't need more damage. What's damage amping really going to do? It's not actually going to change how fast she kills people in that much of an appreciable way. It will be a bit quicker, but it's not going to be quick enough to stop something like damage stopping her. The best thing you can do is just keep her alive that little bit longer by just pouring healing into her. So staying on the heal beam I actually like, and even pre-healing to the point where you aren't bothering with the damage amp at all. You're just, you know that there are threats in the area, so let's stay on healing, keep her alive for that split second longer if people start focusing her, where her damage output will outdo the enemies, and therefore they will survive. Let's talk about this, pulling out the blaster as well. Well, like, I think what the Mercy was expecting at this point was that the Ana had a grenade, and was just going to grenade that, so you might as well pull out the blaster. She's dead already. And honestly, blaster, not too bad. The Caduceus blaster does 20 damage per shot, 40 damage on headshot, and can actually out DPS a lot of people if you are landing headshots. It's so-so. The times you should pull it out are pretty minimal. And Zeta's calling out plans, which is good. Like, he should be calling out plans, but Zeta has a very intimidating voice, so we will mute him for a couple of seconds while the team's getting set up for the next push. When you should blast and when you shouldn't, we'll talk more about that later. It's somewhat rare when you should be blasting rather than damage amping, but again, I like this motion here. There's one thing that I actually spotted, which gave me a bit of like an which is, like, we're going back this way. Why are we coming back here? This scares me. This makes me nervous. The reason it makes me nervous is pretty simple. This is a pub game, and we're in good communication with our Farah, but if our Farah is over here, and we start dropping further and further down, there is a chance that we just like Guardian Angel into this wall and it just fucks up and then we just end up stuck to this wall. Road Dogg's pushing in, everyone's pushing in. We're going to have no support on the bridge. We have no escape. We could just fall on the pit. It always makes me nervous doing stuff like this. I'd rather just get up and over it nice and safe, but that's just me being a worrywart. Because you feel like a complete numpty if you just fell down. We should be on damage amp right now, however. We should be definitely looking to top people off if they are slightly hurt, but once the sound barrier comes down, I mean, the fight's already over, so it's kind of nitpicky. Yeah, I'm just being nitpicky, to be honest with you. Like, that sound barrier was completely unneeded, so... General rule of thumb, though, sound barrier goes down, we should damage jump for a second or two before picking people up, just because their hit points aren't going to take any damage, but... Like, the fight's already over. Lucio just wanted a party. He wanted some funky tunes on everyone, he wanted to play some music, just join in. Everyone else had contributed, so he might as well. Feels good, man. Let's go back to babysitting this Road Dogg. No, honestly, we're getting away wonderfully. We only really have to worry about 2 targets at the moment because that's all they're really shooting at, which is the Farah and the Roadhog. So we're just prioritizing bouncing between those two, providing damage amp and healing on Farah when she's poking out, and then providing healing onto the. Like I would like us honestly to be looking at the Roadhog while he goes fishing, and I think yeah, this is when the Zarya calls out to the Roadhog, like Roadhog, when you go poking out, call for it, and I will take it, and I will give you a bubble. But one thing I also want to highlight is our positioning is pretty good. We're quite far back. We're quite safe. That means that the Zarya just misses us with this, which is quite nice. And I like our response to this. We're not trying to keep people alive in that. We're not doing anything. And honestly, this is where, like, it's worth mentioning that I think this person recorded probably using Shadowplay without recording their own microphone, which is fine. It means we can't hear their own calls, unfortunately. So what I was doing during this time period was I was looking up here in this top corner and saying, are they making a call? Because this is when Mercy should really be saying, guys, engage hard, engage hard, engage hard, engage hard. And this is when a death call is important. Because, like, this McCree running over here has done absolutely nothing for us. We can't go out and heal this guy. And if he dies here, like, if he dies over here, we've got someone dead over here. We've got another person likely dead over here. And we've got a Roadhog over here. Where do we go to res? Like, how do we get to somewhere where we can res? Well, we have to get over here somehow to pick everyone up, or we have to make a choice between the two groups. And that means that we have to either dash this way and then run, which means we're vulnerable, or we have to dash this way and run, which means we're vulnerable. Either way, it's not good for us. So this is when something like a death call is very important. And where these two should have just engaged hard on the enemy team. And then all we do is we dash towards that, where everyone's corpses are nicely piled up. We pick them all back up. It's no fucking problem, because we have the res. And this is one of the critical skills of Mercy, is being able to make these calls. Because you notice, like, we had to reposition ourselves to get 3 people. And we're kind of lucky that we got all 3. Like, this guy could have just shot us. There could have been so many things that go wrong here. Where if it was just a bit cleaner, a bit tighter, a bit nicer, could have gone better. And it is an important skill, I think, as a Mercy player, to take charge of basically one thing that you are looking after, which is people's health, and just say, yeah, just wipe and die. I have res, it's fine, I'll pick us all back up, we win the fight after that. Especially with gravitons. Like, if you have a Mercy and she's not in the grav, try and, like, as the Mercy, you should be telling the team, oh, I have res, it's no problem. But the team should also be checking and making sure, like, hey, do we have res? Is res available? How should we react to this? How we do, and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, like, positioning is good, priority is okay. We're occasionally, like, doing what I would call like spot healing, where this is like to me it's raid terms, where you have like spot healers who are just healing up some of the DPS and just putting like little flash heals on people. And then you have like the main healers healing up the tanks and keeping them alive as they take the big sources of damage. Lucio to me is a spot healer. He's just good at healing up little bits of damage here and there. Mercy is like a main healer. She's also pretty good at spot healing, but she's more of a main healer, where she's pumping healing into the tank, so when the tank's taking constant damage, he has that much longer to survive. Now we have to be a little bit more careful on this map. If we don't take the first point, Mercy's honestly going to struggle on this map a little bit more, just because there's less room to fly. This is hilarious.
Wow, kill him. Wow, I got to...
2 people instantly die. A Reinhardt charges, the soul just picks up 2 kills. Like...
Wow, kill him.
Like, I press shield. Clearly not. Reinhardt scooped him up and got the kills. Okay. Instantly on the back foot. This match is definitely not going as well as the last one. I like the fact that we're pulling back. I don't like the fact that we've jumped forward here, because this is like a death sentence. Like, this Road Dogg has made his decision, and this is when we, like, do this. and British salute, and we do this. Because this is clearly, you know, it's get the fuck out of clock, ladies and gents. We've lost our main tank, we lost one of our main DPSs, they're just pushing super hard on us. Get the fuck out of clock. He's made his decision, he's gone that way. We made our decision, we've gone out. We sort of half-hard it, and we just sort of end up in the middle of the enemy team and just go, ah. When you make a decision, stick to it, is the ground rule. Don't try and save people that have already made a decision that you can't support. Like, that's a good way to just throw your life away for nothing. Correct call from Zeta, wait for everyone. Just group up, okay. You can start pushing. Again, we shouldn't probably be worrying about, like, with this area. Like, she's already on kind of fullish health, and even in here, she's taken so little damage, we would be better served damage amping at this point. Like, leave this sort of minor shit to Lucio, where we can put more out of our damage amp onto someone like Zeta, for example, in this little area. Or we could just be keeping the Roadhog up so he can push out. Stopping people off now, which is fine, because they're taking big chunks of like 100 damage to start pushing out. Poor Roadhog is purple, let's stop healing him. There we go. Now we can heal him. I mean, I'd be a bit keen just to swap it off immediately. One thing that's nice about the Mercy UI that I'll mention here, is it's something you can keep an eye on quite easily, is just keep an eye on this middle bit, because it does tell you when a target is purple. And so that's sort of a nice indicator of maybe I should right click, maybe I should left click someone else, maybe I should look for something else to do, just for waiting for these split seconds, because you can swap beam instantly. So it is a nice idea. And luckily it wears off, and we can, like, then our priority, the second it wears off, is to top him off, which is fine. Absolutely fine. That sucks. Everyone's purple. We should be pulling back. This is when I'd be calling to the team. You are purple, pull back, pull back, pull back. Definitely want to inform them that res is available. This is like a minor thing, but when res is up, press Z. Just get the message on the side saying resurrection is available, because it does change how you should be fighting, how you should be thinking about fighting, how you approach fighting. And I can't see anything coming out of the Mercy at the moment, so it's definitely something that the team has to be informed about. Good punish on the Reinhardt by the team though. That's sights. Keep the Zarya up. Happy with us staying back here. Kind of sucks that Soldier gets all the way around us. He must have gone all the way. No, he just sprinted through. That sucks for us, that they were pushing that far forward. I don't think there was really anything we could do here, because if we try and back away, he kills us anyway. So we're kind of stuck there. We needed something to help us. Let me just see his movement as we leave it on the kill cam. Yeah, there's no way we're getting past that.
Let's go.
Looks like the team cleans up without though.
Just hug in there.
Imagine a barrage went down, or they just clumped really badly. Or Lucio was a fucking champion and he had 1,000,001 thing. Drink some coffee. Sweet life-giving coffee. Now we're happier as Mercy. This big room is actually pretty good for us as Mercy. There's lots of cover we can hide behind. We can get up onto the high ground, especially if McCree stays up here. Soldier would be better up here, but McCree will do. Gives us a nice escape route. We have Pharaoh we can go high to. We can bounce around all over the place. This is a very happy place for us as Mercy. Big open spaces, Mercy is good. And what's nice is if we get caught in grab, we can just do this. We still have res available. Honestly, like to me this is working sort of at odds against each other, but once the sound barrier goes down, I will probably be tempted to show again and heal, because the sound barrier should be enough to make you win the fight, especially post grab. Like, I would have been tempted, and I'm considering this, but I'm not 100% on this. I would have been tempted to take this pathway and try to get to this Roadhog. It's relatively safe out of the fight, like we're not showing up here, for example, but it's enough where we can support this while the rest of the team is busy engaging with sound barrier, so we're sort of unlikely to die as well, and we could probably afford to push out a little bit. So, yeah. I think I would have considered that, just because the sound barrier sort of, like, we've already given one support ult to the fight, so odds are we're going to win it. If that makes sense, we've already used our one big resource. We don't need both immediately until sound barrier is done, and by the time sound barrier is done, we've either won or lost the fight, and we're still staying safe enough, relatively, that we should be okay. So I don't necessarily object. I think, like, the safe play is staying behind there, but I think there's not enough threats to justify us being scared. I do like this movement being up here though. This is nice and safe for us. And this is honestly where I have a lot of questions, as like someone who probably should be playing Mercy a lot more. I'm always curious about doing something like this. You know, extending the beam here to give Farah some more damage, because we are telegraphing our position massively. They know exactly where we are. As long as they're pushing in main, we're okay. And as long as they don't have something like a Genji or a Farah of their own, we're probably okay. But we want to be a bit careful of doing something like this if they have a Genji, because if he gets a Dragon Blade, he's going to go for us. He should be going for us first. I like the fact that we're staying up here, though. Fight's over, we can drop down. But we should definitely be staying up here while the fight's happening, just because if they die underneath us, no one can stop us just picking everyone back up. Like, if you think about it in terms of... let me try and explain this in an eloquent way, because I think I've got a good way of doing it, okay? Any healing that we do down there, even if we heal Roadhog up for his full hit points, it's like 600 hit points. Okay? We could provide 600 hit points to the fight below, and then Roadhog dies, and then everyone dies. But if everyone dies down there without us, and we res, think of that res as, instead of a resurrect, as a single heal for 600 hit points on Roadhog, 200 hit points on Farah, 200 hit points on Lucio, 200 hit points on McCree. So then you're healing for 1,000 hit points. And 400 on Zarya as well. 1,400 hit points, as long as you aren't caught in it. That's a lot of healing. So if you weigh up an engagement in terms of like, can I provide more than 1,400 healing in this fight? If the answer is no, I should probably stay hidden and just value the res that much more. The hard part is when the team doesn't play around your res properly and starts splitting off everywhere, then suddenly you won't be picking people up for 1,400, you'll be picking them up for 1,000, because Zarya's gone on a fucking adventure and is 3 miles away. Or you'll pick up or you'll pick up just the Roadhog, which is still 600 hit points, but it's a lone Roadhog isn't going to win a fight after the fight is already over. So as long as the team is doing something like this, where they're all just pushing into like the unified tunnel, which is sort of back here, as long as they're doing that, we are a-okay staying up here. The second the team starts splitting up, then we probably want to be considering, can we actually get a good res off the back of this? But luckily the team is playing as a unit, cohesively. A++ means Mercy's strong.
I have ult again, guys. Let's push.
Okay. Let's see. Waiting for the next engagement. I like the fact that we're staying in a relatively safe location as well. We're staying back behind this wall. We don't need to push out with Zarya. We don't ever need to really go around this corner. Because if we do, we are giving up our escape route this way. So we can just stay about here, and then we can make a choice of whether to jump this way or whether to jump this way, depending on where a threat comes from. We have options as long as we're over here. So that's perfectly fine. It also means that Farah can take us up if we need to. As long as we don't go around any corners, we are perfectly fine. We can also go to McCree. Like, we have options. When we start cutting those options off, that's when it starts to become a problem. Fine with the fact that we should be moving. We should definitely be calling out, like, fight and die together. But we're winning anyway. I'd pick that up. So the reason why I'd say I picked that up is because, like, when you're doing this, you should be keeping an eye on the fight, and we should be keeping an eye on the kill feed as well. So let's have a look at this kill feed. So their main tank is dead, 2 supports are dead, McCree's fired off his ultimate, they use Hammer Down as the initiation. They don't have too much follow-up on this. Why wait for, like, the perfect res when we could just go in and pick these 2 people up and suddenly have a huge counter swing where we now have a Mercy Farah and Lucio back into the fight, and we can actually just win the fight outright. Like, we don't need to wait for anything more. We already have a big enough swing potential here, and odds are, you know, the rest of our team won't be dying anytime soon unless they really overcommit with extra resources. So we are okay to just go in and rest immediately. That said, I will say this much: when I play Mercy, I'm much more of a tempo res player than I am a wait for the entire team to die player. Like, I will read a fight a lot more and just wait for the fight to reach like a tipping point, and then I'll try res at that tipping point during the fight where they can't handle 3 people who are immortal suddenly entering the battle. I will say, just to throw in some extra information, when you are dead, it is important to convey if you have resurrect or not to your Mercy. So if Mercy stood waiting with res, and you have and you have Earth Shatter and you are down, it is very relevant to what the Mercy is trying to do in terms of, like, calculating in her head. Is it now time to res? Is it now not time to res? It is very, very relevant to say, by the way, I have an Earth Shatter. So if you res me and I'm, like, behind the enemy team,
him.
I'm just gonna fucking kill them all. For a split second now, I loved our position. A split fucking second, I thought our position was superb and A-okay and everything was sunny in the world, and then we did something very stupid. Can you spot it, chat? Can you spot the moment? I'm gonna go to half speed. I'll tell you the exact moment that I went from to super happy, super happy, super happy. Why am I so grumpy? What makes me so grumpy? And I'm sure Chet pointed it out, but I'll point it out to you guys anyway who aren't waiting. Because chat's not obliging me, unfortunately. They're still too far behind, I guess. They will eventually, I'm sure. Because what I saw there was an opportunity to completely diddle that poor Winston. There is a large health pack, ladies and gents. A large health pack right here. There we go. Health pack, health pack, health pack. Good, 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 good. Health pack. If the Winston's jumping in, Winston often, when he dives, has fairly simple objectives. He's generally looking to isolate and kill a support. And Mercy versus Winston, the big thing to keep in mind is that Winston's damage output is constant. Okay, and if you can't read this, it says 1, 1, and 9. Okay, we have 119 hit points. We're almost down to 100. Winston will do consistent DPS to us. It means that we cannot get our self-regeneration going. It means we're completely reliant on Lucio's healing, which isn't quite enough to offset all the damage that we could be taking from the Winston. But if Winston is trying to kill someone being healed by Mercy, it's really hard for him to do. Mercy plus Lucio is enough to out-heal Winston's damage. So, as long as we are alive, we could stop anything that Winston's trying to do. Winston's jumped in, he's engaged very hard. If we pick up the health pack, like, no one on this team is more valuable in this situation where he's shitting out constant DPS than us. Roadhog's not going to die anytime soon. He's got 600 hit points. It takes like 8 seconds for Winston to kill him. Zarya is absolutely fine. Like, she has 400 hit points, and then all the 200 hit point targets, we can just keep up on our own, have some sort of escape mechanism. There's absolutely nothing wrong with us scooping up that health pack to make sure that we are that much safer, and then we can just pump healing the targets as needed, and give that little bit of extra durability. But when fighting against Winston, scoop up all the health packs you can. I'm perfectly fine. I actually like this movement, by the way, where we end up with a Zarya. And I have no idea if it's intentional or not, but the fact that we end up in front of Zarya is great, because Zarya, like, when Zarya is fighting, she is thinking, do I have a barrier for myself? If not, can I put a barrier on someone else? And you just temporarily become a tank. I want to check something real quick before we talk about this next movement. But again, yep, like, we can leave the Zarya now. Like, we can see the Roadhog's critical, we should be picking him up. Like, honestly, I'd say we should probably be making sure the Roadhog's A-okay before helping the Pharah sort of overcommit. I mean, we do manage to get the Pharah up, which is fine. Roadhog's managed to look after himself, which is good for our team. He's dead, but hey, we got a res. Should be landing 2-9 again. Just press Z a couple of times. Really, it makes all the fucking difference in the world. Keep the Zarya alive. Good, 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 good. The longer Zarya survives, the better. Let's try and keep this Genji down. Good damage jump. The damage up here is A+, because, like, a lone Genji against... Like, when we're in this situation, let me talk about this. When we're in this situation where we've got the 3 of us, right? We've got 3 people here. We've got a lovely triangle. And Genji's coming out. Genji isn't going to kill someone very quickly. Like, Genji on full hit point targets doesn't kill that fast. Even if he's landing pure headshots, it still takes a little bit of time. So you will have time to react when someone's hit bar, health points are dropping down, especially on a Pharah. Like, they're not suddenly going to go from 200 to 0. So we can have time to react until he hits about here. Then we could start, you know, healing them and bringing them all the way back up. By staying on damage amp, what we can do is we can ensure that the Genji is taking more damage, therefore will die faster, therefore will be less of a threat, therefore our effective hit points as like a unit is higher because Genji is, as a threat is removed, and so we can just heal people back up as we want. So I do like the choice of damage amp here. A++. You want to finish the Genji off as fast as you can, and then you can start pushing in. We can save the rest here. I like the fact that we're moving behind the point, somewhere safe. Especially with sights. There's the sound barrier, they're re-engaging. Let's just try and stay safe. We should definitely be calling out here. You see, this is where, like, calls help immensely. Because our poor Pharah is, like, ranging out this way. Well, if we say, like, die close to point, the Pharah could come back in this way. So instead of pushing outwards and trying to just survive on their own, Farah should be thinking, okay, let's try and get into a good position for my Mercy, who is alive and safe. And Mercy should be calling out, you know, alive and safe. Like, she should be calling out the res is coming, we need to be in position for it. Because Mercy ends up risking herself trying to get to where the Farah is when she could have just had an easier time of it. And as such, we trade a res for a Dragon Blade. And a sound barrier by the looks of it, which is fucking amazing value. Even if you guys don't take this point, it's still good value. Fortunately, Mercy versus Winston. Winston's very good at killing Mercies, as I said. Okay, now we regroup. Let's try and save this area a bit. There we go. Pick him back up. It's also worth mentioning that res is just very quick to build, so I don't mind a little bit of aggressive resurrect. Like, especially with a Roadhog on your team, resurrect is cheap with a Roadhog on your team. Fire at will. Interesting choice not to... we should probably be not focus healing the Lucio here. I'm pretty sure this is, you know, preaching to the choir here, but there's something wrong happening here where McCree is walking out with a Deadeye. Exactly the same as Farah, like just put healing on him so he's hard to remove. You can try for a right click, but honestly I would just try putting healing on him. I find, in my experience, that works out better when you're just keeping healing on the McCree for Deadeye, rather than trying to damage amp him, because I don't think it actually changes the rate that the skulls change. The skulls don't move any faster or slower, but he can actually technically left click faster and get the kills. But as long as you are healing him, then he will survive long enough to get the confirmed skulls. So he will get the happy little skulls and go bang, 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 and get the kills. We definitely don't want to be damage amping Lucio, at least not this patch. Maybe next patch could be good. I'm fine with us staying on the Farah here. We do want to go and scoop this up. That's just stupid by the McCree. There's no saving that. I like the fact that we're just going for an escape. A bit unfortunate that we couldn't find anyone else. That's more on the team. It's more on Zeta, to be honest. Just blame him. We should be trying to Guardian Angel again to that, but unfortunately the Genji just hunts us down, kills us, but if he just gets us... Dragon Blade for a Mercy, okay. Unfortunately, they have very, very good ults. This is why Soldier Genji is a very, very good team lineup. And Soldier comes in and cleans up afterwards. Feels bad, man. Fine with this res. We need it. I'm actually fine with us. Oh. Okay, his corpse just vanished. Yeah. Yeah, his corpse vanishes. Once that corpse vanishes, press Q. We've just got to get to the point. We go one way, the rest of the team goes the other. Daria gets in. But they just win it anyway. There we go. Yeah, chat knows. Chat's doing it for me. Blame Zeta. Damn straight. But this game's over. It's not really his fault, but Farah's job in that situation should be the care and comfort of your Mercy.